computer. Right, okay, well, hello Emma, nice for you to join me. Thank you. Thank you for
Hello.
today. So I'm just going to, introduce you and what you do for Confidence Guru followers, give them a little bit of an idea before we have our interview. I'm really pleased to be interviewing you today. For me, you're a really inspirational person. And I'm hoping that you'll share a few little tips and give us your recipe for success, really. Like many of us, I know that we all experience a lack of confidence at times, or a little bit of self-doubt. So it'd be really interesting to know how you deal with that at times. So for anyone who doesn't know Emma Whalley is the founder of Lancashire Gossip Gals, which is an empowering and daily growing business network. And you're also the director of Emma's Self-Care Hub. You might correct me on a couple of these things. You tell me if I've got anything incorrect. And I've met the Gossip Girls, and so I know that you're a really savvy businesswoman, and I know that you're a bit of a fountain of knowledge. So one of the things that maybe people don't necessarily say about you and to you is that you're an extremely nice person as well. So I know you're going to inspire people today. So I know a lot about your success with Lancashire Gossip Girls and your other businesses. But tell me a little bit more about you as a person, as a mum and a wife and that sort of thing.
Okay, well, I live in Lancashire, in Preston. I am a wife now. I've been with my partner for 22 years, actually. So that's quite a long time. And we only actually got married in May last year. So it's just coming up to 1 year that we've actually been married. But obviously, we've been together since we were 18. We've got a son who is now 7 years old. He is a gorgeous, funny, cute little boy. He's got special needs, which does bring its own roller coaster with it, like with different diagnoses that we've been through for him. But he's doing really well, and he's really confident as well. That's one of the things that I really want to instill in him, because I think if you've got confidence, you can achieve anything. So that's a big thing that I'm always boosting him up and always wanting him to feel loved and feel that he can just go for it. And you succeed through failing, to be honest. So he's not afraid to try. I think everybody is a bit afraid to try, but I try and encourage him as much as possible. But yeah, I like meeting people, and I love finding out about lots of different people. I have a spiritual side to me as well, which is my self-care hub. And that's me really.
Excellent. Okay. So yeah, it's hard to imagine, being as I've met you through a business network and I've seen you stand up and speak to people, it's hard for me to imagine that you've ever really experienced self-doubt. Have you always been self-confident?
No. No, not at all. Say at school, even in secondary school, when they go around reading, and you've all got to read a paragraph, and then you go up and down rows for you to read. I was so scared about that and reading out loud. And I was always scared about reading out loud in primary school, running up. But I'm talking about secondary school now. And I would skip ahead. I would judge who was going to be reading, so which bit was my paragraph, and so that I would practice that paragraph. So I would absorb that so that I would get my reading right. Because I'm not a very fast reader. And yeah, I find it hard to read out loud, really. And even before I had my son, I was so worried about reading out loud to him, you know, bedtime stories and things like that. So that was a big stumbling block for me, and you have to do that all the way through school. So yeah, I was so nervous about that, and also nervous in groups with other children as well. Like, I could make friends okay, but I was always nervous about speaking in a group of people, whether what I was saying was the right thing. So yeah, definitely lots and lots of self-doubt.
Right. Well, I mean, that's good. That's good to hear. And I think, you know, a lot of people think that there are confident people and non-confident people, but it's transient. You know, we can be confident in one area and not necessarily confident in another, you know. So
Yeah.
you know, in setting up your businesses, you know, do you remember a time when you've overcome a confidence barrier?
Well, I go live a lot in my businesses, and I about 3 years ago, I saw a lot of people go live, and I was like, oh wow, that looks really good, and they get so many people involved and things like that. But I was speaking to my husband about this actually, and he said, before you went live for the first time, you were a wreck. You practiced to me, you were practicing in the mirror, you were writing everything down again and again, and like really methodically going through the preparation of it. And then you would go live and you would do it, but you know, it's stepping over that barrier. And for me, what works is I like to the number 3 is a really key thing for me. I like to practice things 3 times and then go for it. So yeah, it's that, and that has really grown my business so well, and that's built my following up no end, because people know me before they meet me. So yeah, before I went live, and that was a big barrier, and then jumping over that hurdle really did help. But yeah, I was a wreck, and then I used my husband as the hamster, really.
Yeah. Oh, so it's good. It's good to hear. It's good to hear. You know, the process that you went through from, you know, being really nervous, and I mean, I know that you're on live a lot. You know, it's something you do a lot, and you're talking to your various audiences. So it's amazing how far you've come with that, actually. You know, and you're teaching a course about it now, aren't you?
Yeah, and that's been really well received because of the content in it. But I was speaking to my friend, and she said, "Oh, you've come so far. You used to be so nervous on your lives, and you used to say and and all the time, and now it just kind of flows quite easily, because I just imagine a couple of friends just watching. I don't imagine, you know, the 500 people that view it. It's just I just imagine a couple of friends. So yeah, the progression, you know, you just got to keep going. Consistency wins the day.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a good tip, actually, just imagining that you're talking to 2 friends rather than thinking about the potential audience that's out there. I like that. Yeah. So most people, you know, most people would recognize, I think, that confidence does come and go. There are times when they are confident, times when they're not. So how do you maintain yours?
Well, I think this is a trick question, actually, because I don't think you can maintain confidence. I don't think anybody has maintained their confidence all throughout their lifetime, because life throws some stuff at you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And we go through like peaks and troughs with things, and like we're going on a roller coaster at the moment. And I think like my confidence dipped when I had quite a big trauma with things. I've had a few things go on, and my confidence has dipped every time, really. And my confidence dipped as well, being like a mum at home before getting into business as well. So I don't think you can maintain it. I think you can just have faith that you can build up onto things again, and doing things consistently, and not really overthinking it, just realizing, yeah, you know, it's a dip time at the moment, but baby steps will build it back up again. So I don't think maintaining it is easy, but when you do have it, it's that consistency doing it, because you know, when you've had a break, say you've got 2 months break of doing something, it's hard to go back to it. So I think once you're on a roll, just keep going, and yeah, you can stick with it.
Okay, really good. So, you know, what inspired you to found Gossip Girls and the Self-Care Hub? Because you know, I can see, you know, that, you know, as I describe you, you are a savvy business. What inspires me so much about you is that while I'm thinking about something, you'd be off setting it up. You know, you get an idea and you're really driven, and you know, I'd still be thinking about the idea, and you'd be setting up a course or doing something like that. So, you know, that inspires me about you, because you're really driven. You know, you achieve things really quickly, you know. But what inspired you to set up the businesses in the first place?
Well, with that, with what you're saying about setting things up and just getting an idea and going with it, I'm not a perfectionist. And I think that's quite a good thing, really, because a lot of my material, it's not all pristine and properly done. That might sound quite bad, but it gets the message out there and it just gets the job done. And it's the person behind it that counts more than how things look and things like that, I think. And that can come later as well. But what inspired me is, well, I like a lot of community spirit. I like supporting other people. It's like, I've always supported, you know, like the Avon lady or the local shop or anything like that. And with Gossip Gals, it was really important for me to like support the local community. So that's part of it as well. And it's helping people within that too. With the Self-Care Hub, that has all come from being a mum of a special needs child, and having those the need for self-care for myself, and then really wanting to inspire others to help themselves with it as well, really. Actually, with the Gossip Girls networking meetings, it was what other people wanted to go to have the networking meetings. So I didn't come up with a plan. I just see opportunities and organize it. So my kind of emphasis is more on demand rather than what I want to supply. If a demand is there, then I'll supply it.
yeah, absolutely. And that's the right way around. It's absolutely the right way of doing things. So I'm
about looking for the opportunities, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, when I initially met you and I see you at meetings, I'm used to seeing you confidently stand up and talk to a group of ladies, many of whom you'll know, and many I know each meeting you don't know. So was that difficult at first?
At the meetings, it built up nicely, but I've not been always good at public speaking at all. I remember at university, I did design and art direction at university, and we had to do a presentation. We had to do a few, and I was an absolute mess, like crying the night before, and really big bags under my eyes with tears about it, and just absolute, like a terrified wreck about it. But the saving grace that was what I still did it. And I think that taught me a lot, that I still lived after I did it.
Yeah.
So that taught me a big lesson, really. And I had to do a lot of those presentations at university. And I just think, you know, you survive one thing, and when you look back, well, okay, I did that, so that means I can do something else. And like at networking meetings, it's not hard to speak for, you know, however long. At my meetings, it's about 5 minutes you speak, isn't it? But also at my meetings, I do like to make it a really gentle, welcoming atmosphere. So it's not, I like it in cafes and things like that, so it's like there's a bit of background music, and it feels more relaxed, so it's not as scary to just stand up like everybody in the room's watching you. It's kind of like you're part of everything and just sharing. So yeah, I mean, if you do struggle, go for counselling or therapy, because I have been for a lot of therapy, and I'll come to you, Anne, as well, and that always does help. I would definitely recommend, because I've been to different therapists and they all help with different things, so it's yeah. Definitely.
So who would you say inspires you?
This is a hard question, really, because I don't have somebody on a pedestal that inspires me. I get inspired by people who are successful, but are like have that loving and caring way about them as well. Somebody who's like kind of talks from the heart, and you know that they look after their family and things like that. That is more of that kind of person, but they're successful as well, and that's what I aspire to be. Because I think kind of I grew up with a bit of, you know, the evil kind of successful person, like money is evil kind of thing. But the ones that do inspire me are the loving, the giving, but successful at the same time. So you can have both.
Yeah, you can have both. Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say to confidence guru followers who are struggling to develop the self-confidence at the moment, and they're experiencing self-doubt? Would you have any advice that you could give somebody like that?
Yeah, I've got a few tips. So don't think of things too big. Sometimes you think, oh, well, everybody's going to be watching me. And literally, that factually isn't true, because not everybody in the world is going to be watching you. It can't happen. So don't like dramatize things too big. It might just be 20 people. And if they are judgmental, that says more about them than it says about you. So it doesn't really matter what their opinion is, as long as you know that you're a good person and you're doing your best. It doesn't really matter what their opinion is, because you know, what does it actually say about them if they're judging you?
Yeah.
And the other thing is, just do it. It's not going to kill you, and honestly, I fail my way to success all the time. Every single thing that I do, I fail along the way. And it's just so much easier when you know that's going to come along the way. And don't be scared.
Okay, isn't it? It's okay to fail. Yeah.
That's how you grow. You know, don't kick yourself about it. Just learn from it, and then have a tweak, and then move forward.
Yeah. So yes, you know, I think that sums you up. You know, the can do, you know, and just do it. That sums you up, Emma. That's
like or something. Yeah.
So what's next for you? I mean, you're already successful, you know, with the businesses you have, but I'm also aware that you're always innovating. Or, I mean, you might say I'm responding to changing needs. You know, to me, it seems like you're always innovating, and there's always something new. So what's coming up for you?
Well, I'd like to make Gossip Gals networking a national brand. So I've opened up Gossip Gals Networking UK as a group for any business women across the UK. So I'd like to expand that, but I want to do it quite organically within the networking meetings of it. So it needs to be people that are like me, really, that are nice, but and can like be helpful to a room of people as well. So yeah, national brand would be fantastic for the Gossip Gals. And then also the How to Thrive with Lives course that I'm doing. I really have like looked during the lockdown period that we're in at the moment and thought, what are my skills and how can I help people? And I'd like to do one of those a month as we're going forward as well, and just see how that expands as well, really.
Yeah, yeah, which is amazing coming from somebody who three years ago was nervous about doing a live, isn't it? You know, and now
you would imagine that. And it's amazing how when I was writing the course, that how much I know.
Yeah.
And how much people on the course, not being funny, but didn't know, because some things I thought, oh well, this is quite basic, but if you've not done lives before, how are you meant to know? So it's just teaching all the ins and outs. So yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, well look, thank you for taking the time to talk to me. If anybody wanted to find out a bit more about Emma's Self-Care Hub or the Gossip Gals networking meetings, how would they get in touch with you?
Well, I'm Emma Whalley on Facebook. I have a Facebook page called Emma's Self-Care Hub. So you can contact me on that. And then there's also a page called Gossip Gals Networking. But just search for Gossip Gals and you can join any of the groups. I'd be happy to chat to you. And don't be nervous about that as well, because all the things that I run are lovely and friendly and welcoming. So don't be afraid just to get in touch, even if it's just to like feel out things. We can always just have a chat and see what you want to do.
That's great. I really appreciate it, Emma. Thanks for talking to me today, and I look forward to posting this. All right. Bye then.
Thank you. Bye.